Hello again and welcome to English with Mado. In this very special video, I'm going to highlight the present perfect continuous verb tense. I will be illustrating some example sentences, the usage of the specific verb, and definitely a quiz time at the end of the video. So stick around and don't go away. So, what is present perfect continuous? We use the present perfect continuous to talk about something that happened in the past and it's still continuing up to the present time actually. As you all know, we have the 7 subject pronouns that we always use in our daily expression sentences. So as you can see, with I, you, we and they, we use have plus been plus the verb in ing form. That's how we use the present perfect continuous. So as you can see, we have 2 auxiliary verbs. We have the verb have or has with he, she and it. As you know, the verb have gets conjugated with the pronouns he, she and it. So we have the subject pronouns plus the verb have or has, plus been, which is the past participle of the verb be, and then we have the verb in ing form. So that's the formula of the present perfect continuous verb tense. Now, how do we use it? What are the usages of the specific verb tense? The first situation, we use the specific verb tense to talk about recent continuing activities. For instance, what have you been doing recently? I have been revising for my exams. So as you can see, when you want to use the question word actually, we start by what? The WH question, have, and then the subject pronouns, and then followed by been, which is the past participle of the verb be, and then we have the verb. So that's how we use the question. What have you been doing lately? What have you been doing recently? I have been revising for my exams. So as you can see, revising, have, been, for my exams. So what does it mean? That means that he was revising and he's still revising for the exams. He hasn't finished yet. So it's an unfinished action. That's how the situation is being explained. So as you can see, it's not finished yet. He's still revising for the exams. He hasn't finished. And as you can see, let's just highlight the time word. So we have recently. Recently is actually a time word that we quite often use it with the perfect tense. It could be the present perfect continuous or the present perfect simple or even the past perfect. Now let's move to the second situation here. So that's the second situation. We also use the present perfect continuous to talk about how recent, or actually to explain how recent continuing activities have caused the present situation. What does it mean? Let's see this example. My eyes ache. Ache here is a verb. That means my eyes is hurting me. Did you get it? So ache here is a verb. It's a very beautiful verb. So my eyes ache. I have been reading all day. Or I've been. So that's a short form. I've been. So I have been reading all day. Or I've been reading all day. So he was reading and he's still reading. But why? Why his eyes ache? Why? Because he was reading or he has been reading all day. That's why. So that's how the recent continuing activities have caused the present situation. Okay? So I have been reading all day. So let's focus on the time word here, which is all day. So we quite often use this specific time word with the present perfect continuous. For example, I've been cleaning all day. I've been working all day. Now let's move to the third situation where we use the present perfect continuous. We actually use this specific verb tense with how long questions. For example, how long have you been studying French? How long? So that means the time. So when did you start and for how long have you been studying this? So we always use the present perfect continuous with how long. However, there are some verbs that you can't actually use with ing form, and that's what we call stative verbs. What do I mean by that? For example, can we actually say, how long have you been knowing him? No, it doesn't make sense. Know is a stative verb, so we can't put it with ing. So you have to use the present perfect simple instead of present perfect continuous. So instead of saying, how long have you been knowing him? We have to say, how long have you known him? So that's the correct form. How long have you known him? Same as we have a lot of stative verbs. For example, understand, have, hate, contain, like, love. All of these verbs are stative and they can't be placed with ing, or they can't actually be placed in the present continuous verb tense. I will be highlighting this specific information in my upcoming videos. Now let's move to the last situation where we use the present continuous or the present perfect continuous. We quite use it with for and since, same as the present perfect simple. For example, I have been working in this company for 8 years. Or I have been working in this company since 2016. So as you can see, we use for with the length of time, that's 8 years, and we use since with a point of time, and that's 2016. I hope that you actually fully understood this specific section. Let's jump now into this specific exercise which highlights 3 verb tenses: the past simple tense, present perfect continuous tense, and the present perfect simple tense. So, before I move to the exercise, let me just explain to you again the difference between every single one. For example, in the first sentence here, which says, I worked last week in this company. So I worked last week in this company. The time here is definite. It's actually specific. So that's the past simple. Okay, so there is a specific time, and as you can see, the verb followed after I is actually ed only. We're not using any auxiliary verbs at all. That's how we use the past simple. So we use the past simple to talk about something that happened in the past, but with a specific time. Moving now to the second sentence. I have started my job and feeling satisfied. So I plus have plus the verb in the past participle form. That's the present perfect simple. So that's the present perfect simple here. So as you can see, there's no time specific. There's no specific time at all. And present perfect simple and past simple are actually close. They both actually happened in the past and stopped. So it's a finished action. So that specific action happened in the past and finished. But the difference between past simple and the present perfect simple, the past simple we have a specific time, but in the case of the present perfect simple, we don't have a specific time. It's done in the past and it's finished, but there is no definite time. And now let's move to our situation for today, and that's what I actually highlighted today, the present perfect continuous. So the present perfect continuous here, as you can see, the subject pronouns plus have plus been plus the verb and ing. So I have been working here for a long time. So that's definitely the present perfect continuous, and that something happened in the past and still continuing up to the present time. Moving now to the exercise. So let's read together and finalize actually the answers, or let's actually resolve the answers together. Here we have scientists using the Hubble Space Telescope think they found or have found 2 new moons circling the planet Pluto. So as you can see, it says 2 new moons were found circling the planet Pluto. There's no specific time. There's no time mentioned here. So what do I use? The past simple or the present perfect simple? Definitely the present perfect simple. So I'm going to use this. Okay? So we have to use the present perfect simple in this specific sentence. Moving now to the second sentence. Let's just continue. Astronomers have been looking or looked since 1978 when they blah blah blah. So as you can see, it says astronomers. Do I choose the past simple or the present perfect continuous with this one, with this tense? We never use. It's something unacceptable to use the past simple before since or for. It wouldn't make sense. You can only use the present perfect simple or the present perfect continuous. So it wouldn't make sense if you say astronomers looked since 1978. No. Astronomers have been looking. So they were and still looking. Okay? Since 1978, from that year, when they spotted or have spotted its first moon. So when is actually connected to the year. So we have a specific time now. After since, we use the past simple. So when they spotted, not have spotted, spotted. This one is correct. When they spotted its first moon. Now, let's continue. The telescope worked or has been working for 15 years. It's the same case as well. We don't use the present or the simple past with before, for, or since. It wouldn't make any sense. So it's definitely has been working. So the telescope has been working for 15 years. So it was working and is still working. And has been producing or has produced more than 700,000 images of the universe. Okay, this one is tricky. Okay, this one is tricky because it says 700,000 images of the universe. So as you can see, we have a specific amount of number, which is 7,000 images. So it's already produced this amount of images. So I'm not gonna use the present perfect continuous. It's not still producing the 700,000 images. No, these images have already been produced, so it's finished. So I'm not gonna use the present perfect continuous. I'm going to use the present perfect simple. And has produced more than 700,000 images of the universe. Quiz time. As you can see on the board here, we have a short paragraph. And we have 2 choices. All what you have to do is try to read very well and select one of the choices here. It's either the present perfect continuous or the present perfect simple. It's quite an easy exercise. Please, I want you to write down the answers down in the comment section below and I will reply to you individually. That's all for today. Thank you so much for joining me in this video. Please don't forget to subscribe to my channel and don't also forget to activate the bell button to receive all my upcoming videos. I thank you again and I look forward to seeing you very soon on my channel.